too if it's live.
Okay. Yep, we're live.
Okay. Do I have to
Hey,
do
everybody.
private chat to go to comments?
Yeah, we want everybody to comment. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Cool.
Can you see that? Can you see the? You guys, can you see the comments?
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Great. Okay, so everybody, I'm Valerie Hector. I am welcoming you to our meeting, our Beaders Mocktail Hour, very casual get together with Maggie Meister and Laura McCabe. We're just here to have some fun, talk about beads, talk about life, and talk about food, our favorite topics. And how it's going to work is you guys are going to post comments and questions in the chat whenever you want to, share recipes, whatever. We're going to start with talking about food, okay, because we have to have nutrition before we can bead. All right, that's basic, right? And tonight's topic is, what's the topic, Laura?
Tonight is drunken cakes and the bakers who made them, chefs who made them. Right?
Drunken cakes and the bakers who make them. Okay. Yes. I'll put that into the show. I'll have all of our recipes in the show notes soon, by the end of the evening. Anyway, so Laura, your cake is a Harvey Wallbanger cake. I'm gonna finish putting the recipe. Maggie, your cake is a what again?
It's the New Orleans bread pudding with bourbon sauce.
Oh my God. Let's start with you, Maggie. Okay. Do you want to just tell us about this? Maybe show us what it looks like?
Yeah, I will. My mom, I'll do a brief intro. And if it's not brief, just shut me up. But my mother and father were both from New Orleans, and I spent every summer a good portion down there. But my mother, living in Pennsylvania, she cooked all this Creole and all these desserts with booze. If I could find the other recipe, I'll do it in our second part of drunken something or other. But she always made bread pudding, New Orleans bread pudding, and she made it with bourbon sauce. And it's very easy to do. You take a day-old thing of Italian or French bread, like so, and you cut it up or rip it up with your hands or whatever, and you soak it in milk. Now, the recipe says a quart of milk. I found that to be too much, but you can judge what you want. So you literally just soak it, and then you mix eggs, raisins, which I don't like, but because it's to be traditional, I did it. Raisins, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, and you whip that together and you pour it over the breadcrumbs, the bread pieces, like so. Okay. Then what you do is you put it in a pan. I did not, usually a bread pan is fine, but I didn't have one. So I used, and actually I'm going to freeze this for Thanksgiving. So this is a perfect pan, and I will cover it and freeze it. So you bake it for an hour, and your knife has to come out clean. Okay. And it's one of my favorite recipes she used to make. And then she made a bourbon sauce. And I have to say that I'm surprised she wasn't drunker than she was making this for her parties. My mom was a hostess. She had many, 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 many parties. So this is made with 1 egg, 1 egg, sugar, and that's it. And you have to, and butter, 8 tablespoons of butter. Okay. And you melt the butter first in a double boiler, and then you add the egg and the sugar in, and you keep stirring for at least 3 minutes. You don't want the egg to curdle. Okay. And so then you let it sit to room temperature, and you put the bourbon in. Okay. Now you're supposed to serve this immediately. Okay. Yeah, warm bread pudding is the thing, and you put this in a little piece in there in your dish, and then you spoon some bourbon sauce over it, and you add a half a cup of bourbon. And that was my mother. I'm not surprised if she added 3/4. I would probably say start with a third. Okay, it's pretty potent. So that's it, and it makes a really nice recipe for the holidays. I mean, it was the way people in those times use their day old bread and milk and stuff. So it comes from my mother's heart, and that's good. She knew how to make Creole food. There's no doubt about it.
Wow.
Nice.
It looks pretty too. You know, it looks really pretty.
It would look prettier, huh?
We have Bridget with us, and she says that she uses golden raisins.
Oh, golden raisins.
Have you done it with golden raisins?
I could.
Yeah.
I make also a chocolate rum one, Valerie. I'm sorry I couldn't find the recipe. I know.
That's okay. We'll do this again.
With pecans. But I
Yeah,
actually tried a golden raisins. I have it.
Raisins. Yeah. She said her grandma used golden raisins.
Bridget, did your grandma put any nuts in there or nothing? Yeah. My mom would put nuts in it, but I really did it the absolute traditional New Orleans way.
Which is no nuts.
No nuts, just
just the raisins. Huh.
Nice.
Cool.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Okay, Laura, do you want to share your Harvey Wellbanger cake?
Yeah, sure.
Recipe?
I had hoped to make it today, but it was one of those days where I couldn't find anything I needed at the grocery store and it didn't get made. But it's actually a really easy one. My grandmother and my great aunt made it, and we'll put the ingredients in the show notes. But basically, it's a bundt cake that you make. It's made with it's Harvey Wellbanger, so there's orange juice, and then there's also Galliano. There's a little bit of vodka. All the alcohol bakes out.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. But there's a couple adjustments that I can give you. Oh, Valerie, there we go.
I'm sorry, Laura. Sorry. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing clearly. I was just trying to post a comment. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, no, so it's it's a bundt cake. The original recipe calls for orange cake mix, which I can't find. I don't know if it's out there. I think it's something of the like 60s that doesn't seem to be available anymore. So I just use a yellow cake mix, and my thing, I'm gluten-free, so I was looking for gluten-free cake mix, which was apparently not available today. But you use that, and you use some pudding mix. You put just pudding mix and cake mix together, and the pudding keeps it soft. So it's a great thing to do with cakes if you want them really really moist. And then you just add the alcohol, and you add the orange juice, and you add a whole bunch of eggs. Beat it up, throw it in a bundt pan, and you throw it in the oven. I think it's about 45 minutes that it takes in the oven. And then you have to let it cool. And there is a glaze that goes on the top. The glaze is made with orange juice and Galliano and sugar, lots of sugar. The trick with the glaze is, if you guys have done glazed bundt cakes, is you have to get it just right. Like it has to be cool enough that it doesn't all melt off, but like still warm enough so that it'll stay, or that it'll drip when you put it on. So I usually let mine sit for probably an hour and a half or so before I put the glaze on the top. Yeah, for a while. But it's really good, and it's it's like such a crowd pleaser. I always make it like if I'm having a little party or something, I make it for that, and it's excellent next day, like with your coffee for breakfast.
This is also great cold.
I brought my Galliano. If you guys don't, it comes in this ridiculously tall.
I love that bottle.
Yeah. It's a funny alcohol. You don't see it used that much, but it's great for the kid. And most liquor stores have it, so. But yeah, that's my favorite, go-to.
One
looks great. And what was that, Maggie?
I want to put one thing in when I make in the bread loaf pan. I actually put it into another baking pan and put an inch of water up to that so it doesn't dry out.
Okay. Is that in the recipe? That's in the recipe? Okay, great.
I've been waiting all day.
Oh, you're going to have some? You're going to try some?
Oh, I wish I could have some.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like some too,
I wish. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. That's okay. Would you serve it with ice cream?
You can. I wouldn't.
Okay, so it's rich enough you don't need it.
Wouldn't probably either. I mean, she was a traditionalist.
Okay. So Laura, it's really good to know that I remember when I was a kid, my mom used to make orange cake mix. I know she did.
Yeah, it's like
really?
Oh yeah.
It's the thing, like the box cake, but the yellow cake works fine because you use
Okay.
orange juice in it anyway. I've experimented a little bit with putting like orange extract. You don't need to. It's like just use yellow cake instead of orange cake, and it's fine. So
Okay, that's good to know. I'll make sure I get that in the show notes. Is that in the recipe that you can use yellow cake mix too?
I think the recipe that I sent you is like the original, like typed out by my grandmother. So I think it still has orange cake in it. But yeah, you can just make a note. Maybe somebody somewhere can find it, but if not, just regular yellow cake mix.
Bridget is saying it was a 60s cake.
60 cake, yeah.
It might have been. I grew up in the 60s. It could have been. Yeah.
Bridget,
So Laura, who is Mina? Because it's Mina's recipe. Who's Mina?
I don't know who Mina is. I was trying to talk to my dad about that. So it's my grandmother obviously had a friend, Mina, I guess, because you know how everyone would change, like, give you recipes and they would be like, so and so's kitchen. Like, so it must have been a friend of hers. My grandmother, it was my father's mother. They did a lot of like entertaining, and she was like in a sorority in college, and they all kept in touch and got together. So perhaps the sorority sister. I don't know. I'm not sure who Mina was, but it's a good recipe. So
Rebecca has a great comment here. Ever tried orange zest?
I have not. That's a good idea, though.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That would probably be excellent. It probably work.
Okay, should I add that into like the recipe? Just say
optional orange zest.
Optional orange zest. Okay, how much? Like how much?
I don't know. I would just do half an orange of zest, probably.
I think half an orange is fine.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And then would you like add the orange zest into the flour mixture, the cake mix, so it gets coated with like dry powder?
No,
so it won't sink.
I would put it in with the liquids. So you
put it in with the liquids.
Yeah, you mix the pudding and the cake mix together, and then you add the eggs and the liquids and whatever. And I would put it in at that time and mix it in with everything. So yeah.
Okay, put it in with the liquids.
So the eggs and the alcohol and the orange juice.
Okay. I want to make sure I get that right for the recipe.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, boy, that sounds good too. Now there's a glaze too for the Harvey Wallbanger cake. Did you talk about the glaze?
Yeah, and the glaze is so it's Galliano, like a tiny little bit of vodka and orange juice with confectioner's sugar. And you just make it, and then like I said, you have to get it to the right temperature. You don't put it on right away because it will drip all over the place. But if you wait too long, then it gloops up on the top. So I usually do about an hour and a half or so, cooled out of the oven, and then I'll do it.
And Becca says she agrees with you, Laura. She says I think starting with a half an orange zest.
Yeah, and with the liquid.
Half an orange zest. Okay, the zest. Okay, great. I'm glad to know that. Okay, all right. So go ahead. So my cake, I've never made before today. I found the recipe on the Midwest Living website. I'm into chocolate desserts, and I decided I wanted to flavor it. I wanted something flavored with raspberries. So I found this recipe. I think it's called the Midwest Living website. Pretty sophisticated. So it's a flourless chocolate cake. It's not going to show up too well here.
Wow.
So with a bit of Chambord in it, which is a French, I think, is it a French raspberry liqueur? I have not had Chambord in so many years, probably 30 years, I'm going to guess. I just have no reason to. But I'm going to tell you that this is a very rich and moist cake. I'm very happy with how it came out. It wants you to combine semi-sweet with bitter chocolate. So I did. I'm very happy I'll put down the kind of chocolate I got. I think is it Guitart? I can't remember, but I'll make a note of it. And I think that matters for the flavor. It is very, very moist and very rich. It's so rich that you probably shouldn't eat too much of it before you go to bed at night, like not even in the evening. I'll just have a little taste though. It's really good. I recommend it. Yeah. I put a link to the recipe in the show notes already.
Great.
So yeah, chocolate is my thing, and dense dark chocolate flourless cakes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I love them. Yeah. So that's okay. Now we have enough food in us. We can talk about beadwork.
We can.
Laura, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so we were kind of brainstorming stuff that we could talk about. And one of the things that all of us are interested in and passionate about is historical beadwork. So, and all of us collect things, different sorts that are sort of historical. So I thought it would be really fun for us to share, like, maybe even each time, but share something of our own historical collection. So this time I suggested that we pick something that suits us, something that's sort of indicative of what we do and the work that inspires us. And I think you tend to collect stuff that is, that's kind of what you do. It sort of draws you in. So I get to start. So I decided, my background is in historical costume, and I specialized in like Victorian and 1920s costume. And originally that was kind of the way I was headed. And then I found beads and went on a different journey. But I've always collected beaded purses. Those have been a particular interest, and specifically steel cut. And I started buying them when I was like in high school, at which point they were like really cheap, and they were like $20 and you could just buy them. They're not anymore, unfortunately. But I thought what I would do is just show you a couple of them. I have a lot of different ones that I've collected over the years. Some are in great shape. Some are completely falling apart. There's a part of me that I can't bring myself to cut them up because I feel like it's somebody else's like energy and work. And even if it's falling apart, I'll give it a good home and like love it as long as I can. So I do have some that are in parts and pieces. I will, sometimes restore them if it's a feasible thing to do, but sometimes it's just, a piece of purse. But I do have a bunch of different ones. So what I thought I would show you first too, because it's interesting. It works with it. Steel cuts, you guys might be familiar with them, but they're steel beads. They're faceted. They come in all different sizes. They stopped making them. I want to say that some of the equipment was destroyed in the Second World War. And so it was after that just gone. Like that's a technology that's basically gone. But they were really popular, like late Victorian, 1920s. They're metal. They are not stainless steel, so they will rust. So sometimes you'll see them and they've rusted, which is unfortunate. And unfortunately with rust, there's not a lot you can do once that's happened. So really the thing to do with steel beads is try to keep them from getting damp, to keep them in a dry environment. So you can use those little, the little packets, the silica packets that you get to help keep the yeah, like when you buy your shoes and there's silica packs in your shoes.
I throw them out all the time.
Yeah, save those and put your like rusty stuff before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Tupperware with silica. Yeah, it'll help it. But I've collected so in addition to the purses, I started collecting the beads themselves, the steel cuts, and they come on these really sweet. I'm thinking I'm going to open this up for you guys so I can show you because they're really, should have opened it before. I keep everything in Riker mount boxes like that.
You're good.
It's a nice way to keep it safe, this stuff is pretty old. These are original hanks of steel cuts, so they're coming out of the factory, and were never used. So, but they come on, they're so cute. They come on these really cute little teeny tiny hanks like that. So, and some of them have the original tags on them. This one, no, it's ripped off on this one, but you do see some with original.
I have some with the original tag.
With the original tag, there's one.
Were they made in France? Are these French?
Yes, they're French. Yeah. And you get a lot of the tiny ones, but you also do get longer hanks as well. And so many different colors. They're galvanized basically. So they do it will rub off. You have to be careful when you're working with them, it will. I'm gonna put these pins in later because it's kind of
wait, what rubs off? What rubs off?
Galvanized color on them. It's just like working with galvanized seed beads. They can lose their color, so you do have to be pretty careful. These ones you see are all different. These are shades of pinks and whatnot. But what's kind of cool too is if I can show you. If you look at lots of reflection, if you look at that one right there, that it's multiple strands, but you can kind of probably see it's speckled, right? It's multicolored as opposed to being one color. What those were is that set up to be stitched into a pattern because they would, crochet them. And so they would come already strung up on the, like, you know, for anyone who does crochet, you know, you have to string up your beads in the sequence to create the pattern. Well, they did the same with steel cuts for the purses. So you could buy them already like hanked up in a way that they would be, you know, once you stitched them or crocheted them, you would end up with a purse that had whatever pattern, you know, it was supposed to have in it. So that's what those are. Those are for a specific, you know, a specific pattern. But yeah, so you see different size hanks and everything, but I thought it was kind of fun to look at those. And then I'll show you my purses. I just picked 2 of them out. This one is a really remarkably good condition, so that's why I wanted to show you guys this one. But this one is like, the beads are so, I can't even tell you how tiny these are. They are like 22s probably. The steel cuts in this, they're so teeny tiny. But it's got a really nice pattern in it. You know, the color change, you get the pattern, and it has this one has a really nice purse frame at the top too.
What technique is that made in?
This is I believe this is done with a crochet technique. I think this is crochet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think hand crochet?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't think it's loomed.
Were they ever loomed? Because the one I want to show almost looks like it was loomed.
Yeah, some of them were. But yeah, I think this one may have been crocheted. But it's got really nice fringe on the bottom.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's in such good condition.
It's in great condition. Yeah, it's in remarkable condition. You know, a lot of them are, at least the fringe is damaged. So, and it actually, it's kind of rotted away, but it did have like a silk lining inside it as well. But, you know, usually at this point in time, the silk is just rotted away. So just the fact that there's anything left in there is pretty good. But yeah, it's a really excellent example of one. But then I have another little one that I thought I would show you, which is very tiny, pretty tiny. This was a major antique store find, because sometimes every once in a while you get lucky. And I went to the local antique store and I saw it in the counter. And when I asked them how much it was, you know, they're usually pretty expensive, but they're like $20. So I was like, okay, sold. And it's in its original box.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it's really pretty. But this is one that's been done with all of the colored ones. So it's got like a little, like a rose pattern.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, isn't that so cute? And it like, you know, it's like an envelope and it comes down, it has like the tiny little button, and I think this one's lined too. Yeah, it's lined with the silk. So this one's probably newer than the other one, but it's still, I mean, it's still old, like probably 1920s. But they're just fun. And, you know, originally when I did my work, when I was selling it, not teaching it, I worked with a lot of steel cuts in my work. And when I started teaching, initially you kind of just start teaching like whatever you've been doing. So I was teaching my designs, and steel cuts became problematic because they're just really hard to find and they were very expensive. And so that's why I started using Charlottes. And everybody knows me for like using Czech Charlottes, but I picked those because they were the closest substitute I could find to steel cuts, because originally I always worked with steel cuts.
Bridget is saying here, beautiful, looks a bit Chinese. Would that be?
Yeah, I don't know where that one. You mean she means the smaller one, I think. Right?
Yeah, Bridget, I don't know which one.
I don't. It comes from a jewelry shop in Quebec, and this is established 1857. But I think this is newer than that. But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have any like labels on it. You know, it's just in this little teeny box here, which was a jeweler.
That's what she wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, you know, it's one of those ones. Sometimes you get lucky and like someone bought it, put it in their closet, never touched it for like 100 years. And then, you know, one of their like descendants was like, whatever, get rid of it, give it to the antique store and we'll get rid of it. And so,
oh my God.
Yeah, that was a find. That was a
major find.
Remembered.
Yes.
I found something antique, but anyway, we'll do that another time. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what my contribution.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. Do you want to go next, Maggie? And I'll be right back. I'm going to go get a couple of Chinese purses. I'll be right back.
I have one that's from India, a vintage from India with this what do you call it? Zarzozi embroidery, but I forgot that was vintage. I'm with you, Laura, and I obtained this through a friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine.
Nice.
I love patterns. Anything with a pattern is wonderful. And I also collect steel cuts, but now I'm wondering, I had two beautiful hanks that were gifted me from a friend who went to a yard sale, and she bought a tin of these, of whatever, and it was all steel cuts made, and they have the tags made in France, and she gave me those. Now I gotta find them. I know I have them. I'm afraid to use them. You know, that's the thing. But I love this because of the pattern.
That's beautiful.
And I also love, I mean, like you said, the silk is a little worn, but it has a little pouch in it for perhaps any coinage.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Valerie, you might know this one. Okay.
Let's see. Let's see again. See again.
I just said
Just geometric motif.
Yeah, but I think I got it from a very dear friend. And in here is my favorite thing. There's a little mirror.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
So I really
Just reminded me of
love
something.
my-
I'll be right back.
and I have them in display boxes thanks to you, Laura. I will go. My aunt sent me this antique Zarkozy embroidery from India. She didn't go to India, but I would like to get it.
Oh, I'd love to see it. Yeah.
It needs some work, but I don't want to do the work until I know what I'm doing or have somebody to store it. But anyway, I'll be right back.
Maggie's getting something else.
Excellent. Another beaded purse.
I'm not sure exactly what.
All right. Well, all pieces of beadwork are interesting to us.
Any and all. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of
So
fun.
Bridget is saying my paternal grandfather is Canadian, Welsh, Scottish.
Oh, it's good for the Welsh.
Hi, Blanche.
Oh, Blanche. Hey, Blanche.
Well, why don't I show a couple of the, I was going to show pieces of Chinese, other pieces, but I'm going to show these now. Okay, so these are Chinese beaded purse. Tell Maggie, wait, Maggie's back. Okay,
Sorry. Oh, sorry.
Maggie's back.
I have my purse to show, but yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, show us.
Go ahead, Valerie.
No, you're going now.
Your turn.
Oh gosh.
Please.
Well,
You
my godmother, she liked antiques as much as I did, and she had no idea what she was sending me. This is made in India. It doesn't have beads, but it is. I think they call it Zardozi, Zardosi embroidery. Okay.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Wow.
With metallic threads, and I've seen them. My last trip to India, I actually watched them do this, and neither one of us had any idea, but it's just so beautiful. I mean, it's all metallic threads, except there are some, I know the not beads, but there's some silk threads to give around the palms.
Oh, right.
Green. And then the back strap. I mean, look at the hand strap to carry it. It's all metallic threads.
That's beautiful.
And then in here, it's just a simple purse. I love it. I used to use it, but I don't do it anymore. Anyway.
How would you date that? How old do you think it is?
I don't know. Well, my aunt died at 99, and she gave it to me when I was in my 30s. So
Wow.
it's old, you know.
Okay, it's definitely old. Okay,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It looks so detailed, so lush.
It is. Now, some of the threads are coming up, but I have to clip them. But I mean, it has bullion. It's just, I just started studying gold work, and just the way the couch, it's beautiful. Anyway.
And somebody worked really, really hard on it, or several people. I mean,
Yes.
we don't know how many people.
One guy,
That's pretty cool.
I did watch a demonstration of it, and probably one guy, and it's done on like a velvet.
Mm.
So,
Wow.
anyway.
Nice. Okay. So here are some Chinese beaded bags. I know because I've studied the topic, and I've gotten all of the ones I've gotten on eBay for very little, but they don't come up often. They only come up once in a while, and they may not be listed as Chinese. Very often they're listed as Native American or something.
Oh,
But
yes.
after a while, you kind of know because they have Peking glass handles, right?
Oh, wow.
If you're lucky, the handles are intact. They're not broken. Here's one that's in pale blue beads. It shows a dragon. Yeah, at least one dragon chasing a flaming pearl or a sun. And the
God.
dragon is kind of weaving in and out of clouds. This is a classic Chinese motif.
Mm.
But what's really, this one came out of France. You know, nobody wanted it. My bid, I just bid for whatever the low, it was like, I don't know, $30 or $40. I got it, you know, and I did not know that when I got it, I opened it up and there is an antique visiting card on the inside, a
Oh my
carte de visite.
Oh my
Okay.
God. I
And
love
it's got this little tiny bow, pink bow,
Oh.
where one little card says, it says, oh, gee, Sheila Mary, 7th of April, 1922.
Oh my gosh. Can
That's
you-
what this little card says. Now, the big card, they were all beautifully imprinted with silver italic printing. The big card says, Mrs. T.W. Mitchell returns thanks for kind inquiries and congratulations. And there's an address at the lower left-hand corner. It says 115 Avenue Road. Okay. So when I first got this, I tried to look up on the internet who is Mrs. T.W. Mitchell. Obviously, I think France. I think she's in France, but I don't know. How do I know she could be in America? I couldn't find any clue online. So I need somebody who's more knowledgeable in tracking down this kind of evidence, but at least I have a date for this because usually you have no sense. These purses were made starting in about 1875 until who knows, maybe 1935. That's a guess. Almost nothing has been written about them. I'm hoping to do, a major survey article since now I have probably enough. There's a nice little tassel section here. It's intact.
Look at the netting.
Yeah, I know. And these light blue beads, I think to the Chinese people, they evoke jade. Okay, to us, it's just a light blue color. But to the
Right.
Chinese, they bring to mind jade, which is a really auspicious material in Chinese culture relating to, I don't know, purity, longevity, all good kind of stuff, auspiciousness. So that's that one. And it's got its little side tassels, not all of them. Well, most of them don't have their little side tassels. So it's a real prized possession.
It's so beautiful, but I also love the calling card. It takes me back. Well, not
I know
that I ever used them, but I mean, that era of presenting a calling card is very.
Yeah, wasn't it elegant to have your little name cards printed up and then tiny little cards to attach?
Yeah.
I mean, and it would have arrived at somebody's house, I don't know how, in the mail or how.
A calling card, you'd leave it when you went to a house. You'd leave the calling card.
Oh, okay.
Like if you went to somebody's house and they weren't home, you'd leave a calling card saying that you'd been there.
Oh,
okay. Wow. It's so beautiful. It's so meaningful. Okay, here's one that it has intact glass handles. It's missing its side tassels. It depicts two fish, right? And a bird, some kind of bird, and a flowering tree. And in Chinese culture, as far as I know, one of the things that fish call to mind is I think abundance and fertility. I could be wrong.
Mhm.
And then there's the bird with the flowering tree. Very often that'll relate to being married, but I could be wrong. This one, let me see. Oh, it doesn't have anything special inside of it. It has I think the lining is cotton. The lining in the first bag was silk, and the lining in this one is cotton, right? So it might have been offered for a lesser amount of money because it's lined with cotton. And these were made exclusively for export to the West, as far as I know. I never came across one in China, not even sort of. They only turn up on eBay once in a while, sometimes on Etsy once in a while. Here's a really special one, which gave me pause because it's got this motif in the middle, this circular motif. And the circular motif has latitude and longitude lines that really call to mind a globe, right?
Yeah.
And so I realized that this might have been made to commemorate one of the world's fairs in which China participated.
Right.
Because wouldn't this be a kind of classic World's Fair motif at the time?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I've been researching this one, and I think I got that right, probably.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm lucky enough to get a purse like that. Should
Yeah.
I restore it by fixing fringe and stuff, or just leave it?
I don't know. Gee, I don't know. I've left mine the way they are.
That was what my gut would tell me.
You know, if I had all the time in the world and I had the right beads, I'd probably restore them. But
No, I'm just curious because there's two trains of thought on that.
Yeah, there are. Yes, there are. But you could easily restore them knowing what you know. You could easily do it. Okay, and one more special one. This is special because the handles are still wrapped with paper. Okay.
Wow.
And this is the paper that this purse, the handles would have been wrapped in the paper. I think it's mulberry bark paper, I'm fairly sure, to keep it, to protect the handles from breaking, right? And this has a J-I motif, which means, I think it means lucky or something like lucky in Chinese culture. And it's really in good condition, like the tassels are here.
Looks like it's netted again. Is it netted?
Yes, it's netted. Yeah, for sure. It's netted. Some were sewn, some were netted.
Yeah.
And it's got the side tassels looking pretty good here. It does have a lot of them have damage. It's got some bad damage at the bottom here.
Yeah.
These are Chinese glass beads for sure. On this one, this is worked with European glass beads. My theory is, and I could be wrong, I have nothing, this is just a guess, that the purses worked with Chinese Chinese made glass beads might have come first. I don't know. And then the ones with European glass beads might have been made later, but I could be wrong. I don't have any proof. There are very few sources in English, and I don't think too many in Chinese either, that talk about this tradition. So a few months ago, I started writing to museum curators, and none, like at the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem, Massachusetts, which is a locus. Salem was a locus of Chinese ships going to China and coming back, the sea trade, and nobody knows anything. I wrote to other curators, and nobody can know everything in the world, but this genre seems to be so far not known by scholars of China trade, right?
I've never seen it in my life. I love it.
That's really interesting. Now
No,
we'll
I love them
start seeing them
too.
now that you pointed them out, and
Yeah, you can look for them on eBay and Etsy once in a while. They turn up.
Right. But don't bid against you. No one's allowed to bid against you when you're
Yeah,
bidding.
you can bid against me. The ones that are up now are like they're in really bad condition, and I don't know if even you want to have them because they're in such bad condition, and also they're ugly. I'm sorry. They're just, there were some real ugly ones. Okay. So anybody can bid against me. That's fine. The problem is they will often not be called Chinese beaded bags. They'll be called like American Indian or just European, because people don't know.
Interesting. Wow.
So that's my little contribution, and I love them. And I think it's kind of ridiculous to want to study them and collect them because they're so minor. These things are so minor.
It's the minor things that matter in the long run. These little things.
I think go ahead, Maggie. Yeah, no, I think you're right. They mattered to the people who made them, and I think they were made in workshops. In fact, I know they were made in workshops because you sometimes get 2 and 3 of the same pattern.
Right.
And they mattered to the women who got them, but I don't know who, were they Chinese women in America and Europe, or were they like European and American women who own these things? I have no evidence, none. Or was it Chinese women living abroad who owned these? I don't know. I have no information.
It's
I
a
wish I
really,
did.
it's interesting. I know when I worked with the archaeologists and stuff, like it's just amazing how quickly information is lost like that. It's just, I mean, I can even remember working on like there were sites from the 1700s or whatever. And there was like implements and everyone was like, what is this? No one knows what this is. It's just amazing how quickly that sort of information so to keep it going is actually very cool because
I think so. Yeah.
Minute or as specialized as it may seem, it's like it's going to get lost entirely if it isn't for you. So.
Yeah, and I thought all I can do is like form a baseline of knowledge for other people to add to in the future. And I hope to get time to look through like old Sears catalogs or something, because do you think or old-fashioned magazines, because don't you think they would have been shown somewhere?
They would. It's so funny. I have a big collection of like old like women's,
Oh, you do?
The Vogue of the 19 teens.
Oh,
I should look in those. Yeah, I should have a look.
Have you ever seen these purses with the glass ring handles?
It's funny. I haven't looked for them, so I may have seen them and I didn't know. So I'm gonna pull them out again. I'll look at some of them.
Please, if you would find some, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll have a look because it's funny stuff like that. You don't notice it until it's been brought to your attention, and then all of a sudden you'll start seeing it places.
Right,
for sure. Half the fun. The search is half the fun.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Yeah, the search is totally. You're so right. The search is half the fun, and trying to decode the puzzle.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out where things came from, who was making them. Like what's the age, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are our people saying here?
Ladies, we want to hear from you.
Bridget, Rebecca,
Bridget's good.
Blanche.
Rebecca.
Thank you all for coming. What else should we talk about? What are we working on ourselves?
Yeah.
I'm working on trying to tidy up my studio before I work on the next thing.
Okay, well, that's noble. That's noble.
And I have actually consolidated things. So all my 15s that I've had are all in the same cabinet, same colors. I am donating quite a bit to there is a creative center downtown that takes donations, and then they sell them for much cheaper for people who maybe can't afford them. So that's
nice.
Good.
Nice.
Good.
But I'm ready to go into some other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you're ready to go into sculpture.
Yeah, but I even the lady I had, I even did beadwork with her.
Can you show us the lady? Do you have her there?
She's not that great.
Oh, come on. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Can we see her, please?
I'll go get her. Twist my arm. No.
All right. Okay.
I love her. I mean, it's really sick.
No. It just means that you're getting new ideas and you're moving on. Maybe
That's good. Yeah.
Sculpture can be really attractive, really appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done any sculpture, Laura?
I do. I mean, a lot of what I do is sculpture. When I teach for a long time, I did like a lot of jewelry, but actually my own passion is for sculpture. So I found like with the master classes and stuff, we've been doing more sculpture, and it's actually people seem to really like it. Because there's something like with jewelry. I mean, you know this so well because you make jewelry. Like there are some limitations in that you're making something to fit somebody. It's like it has to fit the body. So with sculptures, it's a little bit more free for all because you're not limited by that. So you can and there's durability issues that definitely come up when you're making jewelry and selling jewelry. Like it needs to hold up to the abuse that it sometimes sustains.
Yes.
But you don't have to worry about that with sculpture as much. It needs to stay together, but it's not going to be under.
Whole other thing. I think it's for me. It's going into mixed media now, and I would never give up beadwork, and I actually have been working on instructions. But the fact that I can do mixed media opens a whole new world.
Yeah.
So let's see her.
My lady. Oh,
And
can't
you
do it
you
right.
started her in your workshop when you went
Yes,
to
Kirsten Stingle in Ireland at Essence of Mulroney. And she just was a fabulous instructor. There's what's going on?
so we're not seeing all the detail on her
No,
face.
you can't.
I know her face is really beautiful and elegant.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Anyway, I'll find out.
Yeah, it's all right.
No, I just don't want to break her fingers again.
No breaking fingers. No,
Right. No broken fingers. No.
fair enough.
No.
So-
Why,
Not the mafia.
why did this? Whoa. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna. Anyway, ignore the lady in the room with her big butt hanging out.
Look, we don't even see you, Maggie. We can't even see you.
Yeah, have
Laura, do
you,
you want
have
to
done-
show something? Wait, what was that?
Oh,
Oh, here she is again.
she's back.
You can't see her.
Beautiful.
What about if I turn off the lights? Can you see her then?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it might
Lighting's
work.
always so tricky. It's so hard to get the lighting just right.
Yeah. But
Very true.
no, you can't. But she's my lady. There you go. You
Well,
can kind of
she's made out of ceramics, right?
yes, stoneware and a porcelain mix.
Wow.
And she's in a boat, kind of in a boat.
She's in a boat, and this is her beadwork that she's offering to cover her fingers.
Oh,
Okay, and I made her, and I have bracelets on her arm, made out of beadwork and gold.
Nice.
beautiful, beautiful.
And then, you know, I could keep going with the beads, but at some point you have to know when to stop. But
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I really am, and I'm afraid to do any more, but we'll get there.
Well, you mentioned you were checking out a local studio, like a public studio space where you could possibly do more sculpture.
Yeah. If anybody's in the New York, I could do it here, but I need some certain tools and kilns and stuff. So if
Right.
there's anybody in the Norfolk area, I'd be happy to know. So,
Okay.
but no, it's been fun, and it's fun to combine. And I also learned with Kirsten encaustics, which is interesting, because beadwork put into the wax is very interesting. It's just it
Well,
allows for a lot of possibilities.
And caustic is like molten wax. Is that what that
Hot
is?
wax, yeah.
Hot wax, and then you put the beads into the hot wax.
I put the bead. Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Is it like what the Weechall do with the where you're putting it like whole
No,
side
it's not
out?
pulls up. No, it's not.
Okay. It's
Like what I did was I made a strip of right angle weave. Okay. And I just put it in the encaustic like it was like a wave, you know.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
Well, do you think you'll go on and do more encaustic or more clay?
I have no idea. I'll never give up beading because I already designed an earring from an Indian style. So I don't know.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, you
I don't
did?
know if I'm ready yet.
Well, from that book you were talking, you got?
Yeah.
Oh, can we see that?
I don't have it yet.
Oh.
Next time.
Alright. Okay, next time. Okay.
I don't know where I'm going, and I kind of think it's fun. I was telling my doctor the other day, who knew at 70 I would be going into a completely different direction, but still blending everything, mosaics, all
Now you know more. You know the most now that you've ever known in your whole life. And by the way, 70 isn't old, okay?
No.
95, I think when you hit 95, you're old.
right.
Okay.
I'm
But
planning.
I think, not until then.
Yeah.
Which gives you a good 25 years to keep
Exactly.
going and exploring,
Planning on 30 years.
Oh, 30. Okay, excuse me. That gives you a good 30 years to keep going. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just fun, don't you find, when something new comes into your life, and sometimes it's like, well, I'm not interested. I did a silk painting class on fabric, and it's off for me.
Fine. Yeah, I did like a molten glass bead making class. I was like, no, this is too gloppy.
Exactly.
And you can't tell the color until it cools down. Well, how am I supposed to know the color?
Exactly.
I can't see the color, and I have to wear dark glasses,
Yeah.
Anyway, people do it really well, but I'm not one of them.
It's just like doing this class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Respect for it, but I tried it once, and that's when I started doing beadworkers beads. Oh,
Yeah.
Bridget's saying I used to do paper mache and used blended stuff a long time ago.
Oh, cool.
You sound like a very interesting woman.
That's pretty creative.
Yeah.
Very creative. Mostly animals. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
What have you been up to lately? Is there anything you can show or you want to show or you want to talk about?
Me, I've just I got a couple master classes going on, which is fun.
Yeah, which ones?
Actually, Belinda, I see in here somewhere, is in
Okay.
here. But yeah, so I've been doing that and getting like trying to get geared up for the next one. I'm gonna do outer space. So I'm just
fabulous.
It's going to be amazing.
watch some Nova documentaries and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and the space telescope, the
Yeah,
James something Webb space telescope.
Hubble? No.
No, not the, I think it's the James Webb now. I'm not sure.
there's
I have no.
it's such an interesting, it kind of like the thing with space is it makes my like head explode, because like
Yeah.
the physics of it are just so like it's like so incomprehensible that sometimes it just makes my head blow up. So
But-
I'm trying to focus.
So do you let yourself be assaulted with everything and then maybe pick and choose?
Yeah, that's what I'll do is I'll just like Google, look at books, watch documentaries, like totally. There's a planetarium. Actually, it's funny. There's like a local planetarium here and they don't have regular shows, but if you have groups of, I think it's like 15 or more, they'll put on a show. So I'm trying to like, rustle up some of my friends and be like, let's go for a planetarium show. But I haven't been to a planetarium since I was a kid. So I kind of want to do that.
I love planetariums. Yeah.
Wow, no, it'll be great.
Yeah.
So are you going to do some jewelry and some sculptural pieces?
Yeah, what I've done for the last 2 classes, which seems to be, people seem to enjoy it, is 3 of the pieces, we'll do 6 projects, and 3 of them are jewelry and 3 of them are sculpture.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, and then it's interesting because like I love when people bring their own stuff to it. So I have some students who like I have one I'm thinking of in particular, she loves to wear everything. So she'll take sculpture and make it into jewelry. You know what I mean? So it's kind of neat to see how people like kind of deviate from the original design and make it their own, which it's kind of what it's all about.
Isn't that the fun part of master classes?
So
That's
fun.
so fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Selfish, but it's fun for the teacher.
No, I think teachers, we learn as much being teachers as the student, if not more from our students, as the students ever learn from us,
100%. That's why I find actually for me, like when I'm trying to develop new ideas, doing a new workshop, it's really helpful for me to have like my office hours and to spend time with people, because that's like it kind of inspires you to be in contact with your students. Just other creative people. It's great. So yeah, right now I'm doing a lot of office hours and that sort of thing, but it's feeding the ideas for the next class. So
Okay, so I have to ask, are you going to do a project involving a black hole? Like with an event horizon
oh yeah,
and everything, because black holes, like, don't they, I don't know, they eat things around them, or they
do, yeah.
suck in things.
Yeah,
And then you can't never come out again or something. It's all black, or I don't know.
I know that's going to be a hard one, I think, but I'm up for a challenge. So yeah, I have like a few ideas, but I find a lot of times, I start out with an idea, but then it morphs as I work on it because I don't plan it too much. So we'll see.
That's learning to let go of. That's a really good thing. I think that's hard to learn to let go of that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Maggie.
A real curve. And I struggle with that anytime I start something. So
yeah. Sometimes you have to keep going and follow whatever path. But, yeah.
Well, I'll show something I think I've shown before. I don't know. He just happens to be here. He sits here to remind me that I really have to get down to this. Okay, so it's a little beaded dragon. I've shown him.
I love him.
Okay, this is based on a Chinese plastic bead dragon, and it's pretty complex. My problem is I don't like. I used these American-made metal seed beads here.
Metal ones, yeah.
And that's fine, but they are not round. They are oblate. They're like like not round.
Mm.
I think what really is needed for this structure to work is small round beads,
Yeah.
and they have to have pretty decent size holes. I was trying not to use plastic, but I might have to use plastic. And you need at least 3 or 4 different sizes of the beads, okay?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I've been working on this for a while. My assistant Sang has been helping me render models, and we just still don't have a final product. He does sit like he balances, okay? I think
Like that.
that's encouraging. I feel like we're heading in the right direction because the plastic model balances, right? But he's so heavy because these beads are heavy. And the original plastic model is in like shades of yellow and red and a little bit of black. And I don't know, you can see I don't know if you can see, there's a yellow plastic bead in his mouth or her mouth, So I don't know, it's just still in the R&D. And I want to do a necklace. I want to do like maybe in sterling beads, like 1.8 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and 3.5 millimeter. Like a necklace. Laura, you've suggested this before, and I love your dragon necklace, but I just haven't gotten there yet. So, okay, it's still in development. Maybe someday.
Sometimes it takes sometimes stuff just has to sit for a while. I have stuff like that. It'll sit for years sometimes.
Yeah. I think this has been sitting for probably at least a year, I'm gonna guess. And I don't know. It just seems like it's on hold. It hasn't. I don't know. I haven't found the way forward. With it, but I hope I will.
I think you will. Yeah.
Okay, so what about the hurricane?
I love it sitting on my shoulder.
Well, it could be, if you cut it in half, okay, now it's fully 3-dimensional, but if it were half of itself, then it could be a shoulder pin. It could be a pin.
Well, what about on your shoulder?
No, it would work. It would work. No, it would work. Yeah, it would work. I love it. Yeah. I think it's a little bit heavy though, in these metal beads.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
even sterling beads would be lighter than these are brass, right? But I love that idea, Maggie. Thank you. I think that's fabulous.
Oh, Bridget agrees with me. Thanks, Bridget.
Thank you, Bridget. Yeah, I know. I love the shoulder thing. It never occurred to me, Maggie. Thank you very much. But how would you attach it? You know what I'm saying?
I did. Well, it'd have to be a pin back of some or a pin. I don't know how you would.
Like a hat pin type of thing,
Hat pin, yeah, maybe that would.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that idea. I love that. Thank you very much. I love it because it's like too much to have as a pen. It's too much,
Yeah.
I
Well,
think it's too much.
That's ever too much for me. But
all right. Okay. I mean, I always think in terms of what my customers can wear.
That's true. That's true. You have a client base that has taste that you're familiar with. So
right, but I like your idea very much. I think they would love this. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I've closed my jewelry production studio, and I'm shipping the rest of the orders that I am very grateful I received during my sale a month ago or so. And so I'm just moving on into different, like you, Maggie, moving on into different stuff. And like you, Laura, exploring different structures for your master classes.
that's what we all do. I think that's part of.
We keep trying to move on.
And give yourself permission. And then I sit back and I'm tired. I'm afraid to try something, but I'm done with that.
I think it's so good. There's something so humbling about doing, like, when you're really good at something, to go do something that you're not good at. It's great. Like, it's so freeing. Like, you're like, if I screw it up, it doesn't matter because I'm not supposed to be good at this.
Exactly, and that's how I felt with her. I kept making mistakes in this, and Kirsten, I mean, she would actually record WhatsApp things for me, to do after the workshop. So, but I realized that she's not perfect, but I learned quite a bit, and I love her. So, evolving.
Oh, you're right, Laura. When you don't have to be good at something, you're doing something new, and you're not expected to be good at it. It's really liberating.
It is.
So you can fail. You can feel okay failing, because failing is part of learning.
And if you do it perfectly the first time, why are you doing it?
Exactly. And I think it's always fine to fail. That's always an okay thing. But I think when you're a professional, you put that on yourself. Like, I can't fail at what it is that I do. So in our case, beading, but I think it is really good just to let yourself, not worry about it. Just do it. So,
yeah. No, I love it. I love it. Okay, so what about the hurricane? I'm in Chicago. We're having high winds here. Really blustery winds. Are we supposed to get rain tonight or tomorrow? I don't know. What about you guys?
We dodged a bullet. We have rains, but if it had gone further east, we were on tornado watch all day.
Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm,
But
okay.
but we're okay. The thing is my son was in Florida for business in Tampa
Ooh.
Oh,
for a week,
whoa.
and he left on Wednesday. I kept saying to him, "Just leave." He goes, "Well, I want to
Mm,
finish the job." Blah 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 blah. You have to leave. It's not
mm.
worth it. Nothing is worth it. And I'm glad he did because I don't know how many people are dead now in Tampa from the storm surge. And his hotel was just like a block away from Zone A.
Wow.
So he
Wait,
left Zone A. It was evacuated, and he left Wednesday morning. Even the place he was working said, "You better get on there, get going right away," because it was just the storm surge was supposed to be I forget how many feet. So then he drove to Florence, South Carolina, and then he stayed the night there, and then he drove back. But even Florence, all of South Carolina, all of these states, even the inside Appalachia, they were getting flooding. Asheville, North Carolina, is having the more flooding than they've seen in 100 years.
Oh, I haven't been following the news all day. So you're saying the Tampa area has been hit hard?
Yes, I think so. I don't think they've been hit. Tallahassee, I think, was supposed to get this historical storm surge, but it changed. It went to the east last night or whatever. The thing is the storm surge is what's most dangerous. Winds too, but that storm surge is just fed, by all the. Oh, Gail Becker's here. Same here in Orlando. We didn't even lose power once. Good.
Wow. In Orlando, you didn't lose power? That's amazing. That's really good.
Saying like people in Asheville lost power. I mean, it's just so bizarre. I maybe it's me, but I'm used to it going up the coast. But this one went a little east, and then it was going up towards Asheville, Virginia. Virginia got the Western Virginia, the Appalachian got the flooding. So Atlanta's terrible. So,
Wow. No, I'm
but
surprised that we're getting such strong, it's still blustery outside, really strong winds
yeah,
in Chicago,
yeah.
all the way up north here.
That makes sense if you look at the cone, because the cone started, down here in the Gulf, and then it went, a little east, hit Tampa. It was supposed to hit Tallahassee, but it went further east. So I think it did Cedar Keys or something, and then it went up into Atlanta and heading west, which is unusual, I think. So.
Hmm. I have to look at the news. I just feel so badly for the people who live down there.
I know, I do too.
Life is hard enough without a major storm.
Exactly. And they were saying something today on the news about climate change and how it has affected this. And that's probably true. But the one guy said, actually, this storm would have been so bad no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It was huge. I mean, it's just.
Wow.
Storm. Yeah.
We had lost power, so
Hmm.
we're out of it now. We just have a lot of rain.
But you did lose power, Maggie?
No, we
You
didn't.
did not. Okay.
I mean,
I'm glad.
when I first moved here in 2003, I think it was Isabella, and I was in Ireland studying, and Ray said they lost power for a week. And they also had tornadoes come. And when I got home, he showed me this one curve, this crescent of a drive. All the houses on the left were fine, all the ones on the right, and I'm not talking a wide street, were destroyed.
Wow.
Seems to make no sense,
I know. So I have great respect for Mother Nature. You tell me to leave, I'm leaving.
Yes. Yeah, once I had to flee. I think I was doing Smithsonian craft to wear in the fall. It was probably, I don't know, September or October, and there was a major hurricane. And I just barely got out. They closed the show. They said, everybody run, get out of here. And I paid so much money to get my airplane ticket update faster, to leave quicker, like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. Just barely got out. And I was so, grateful to get out, but sorry for the people who,
I do have a really hard time understanding why people insist on staying when there's an evacuation order.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I really do. I know you love your property. I think now people are aware of how much families love their pets, so there are places you can take your pets with you. But I mean, there was a guy on a sailboat out in, I guess it must have been the Gulf, with his dog, trying to ride the storm out. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I'm glad the dog is fine. I'm glad he's fine. But I have no understanding, or I don't know why. What is it with them? That's my.
I think they think they're going to be okay. They think they can manage.
My mom growing up in New Orleans would always tell me, because they had Betsy and she had hurricanes when she grew up, and Betsy was in the 60s, but she said she can remember people having hurricane parties. And yeah, hurricane parties, either on the deck or something or other, and some would tie themselves to a tree. I mean, and they died.
Oh my God.
But wait, the tree could be blown away.
Exactly. I don't know what it is, but she can remember reading about it and hearing about these people that would have parties, and it was so dangerous. But
so what about this guy on his boat with his dog? I mean,
the Coast Guard came in, and they had a helicopter. He threw his dog into the water. They got the dog up in the harness and took the dog up, and then he got in the water, the same thing. And his boat was just like this.
Wow.
Was that just now? It happened just now?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Wow, I'm so glad he got saved,
Yeah, I am too. Oh, look. Okay, Bridget is that. Okay, Bridget's from Virginia. Yeah, Bridget. I'm from New York, Jersey. But anyway, last year we lost power for 7.5 days in the winter storm.
That's a long in the winter. I mean, how could you possibly stay warm in the winter?
I know.
Did you have a wood stove,
Where do you live? I want to find out where she lives.
She said she was born in Virginia.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Hi, Lucy.
Lou's coughing a little. She's hanging out.
Can you show her? Oh, look at her. Oh, how old is she now?
She's 8.
Oh, she looks very happy right next to you there.
She's a nut. She's crazy.
Oh, she's a sweetheart.
She is a good girl. It's tough life.
Oh, yeah, right. Bridget says last year she was in Central Arkansas, so you lost power for 7.5 days in Arkansas.
Wow.
Oh, gee.
Oh, precious.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lucy is precious. Yeah, absolutely. Well, ladies, do you have any more questions or comments? Does anybody have anything final to say before we sign off here?
Thank you all for coming. It's always fun.
Yeah, thank you all for coming. And, we'll be back at the end of October. I think we're going to feature Maggie's beef stew recipe. Am I getting that right, Maggie?
Soup recipe, vegetable beef recipe.
Vegetable beef soup recipe. And then probably Laura and I will share a soup recipe too. Right, Laura? Okay.
Cool.
All right, so I don't know what date that is, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I hope it's not Halloween, but whatever, we'll figure it out.
Oh, Bridget says it was fun.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you. And Fench, great that you were here. Gail, everybody, thank you so much for coming. It was just
Becca, thank you for coming.
I hope you enjoy it too.
Everybody. Okay, so we'll see you in 1 month, you guys. Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Becca. Okay, bye, everybody. Bye.